What's up, everybody? Coach Ben here. Coach Ben Podcast here with Jim from Jiu-Jitsu Magazine. We're here at my academy in Arcadia, California, School Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What's up, Jim?
Another episode of the social distancing, stay at home, quarantine chronicles, all that stuff. So, Coach Ben, I do have a question. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, and it was the whole idea of customs and the lack of customs in uniforms in jiu-jitsu. Now, there are definitely two sides of this coin. What's your take? Can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah, so this is we're just continuing our customs and courtesies or traditions series, and this one's just on the uniform of jiu-jitsu. So we're really talking about like the gi, right? So it's the gi.
Or even no-gi, right?
Yeah, you can extend to no-gi, but it's a little less in no-gi. But mainly, there's just a couple topics, right? Let's just start with like I'm not going to go in order or anything, but let's start with stripes, right? Because that's a uniform custom, right? So I know some academies don't do stripes, right? So I believe stripes was something started to kind of give students a little bit more of a sign that they're progressing, because if you just go from belt to belt to belt, you can people that look for external rewards or kind of use external rewards to gauge their progress, they can be kind of left out and they can kind of have despair and oftentimes people quit because there's nothing there, right? So we talked about on previous podcasts, like, would you go to college if there was no degree at the end, right? Well, if you're college, you're a freshman, you're a sophomore, you're junior, senior. Would you go to college if you were just, freshman forever? Like there's certain benefits to moving to the next level, and stripes kind of give you that external reward. It kind of moves you up the hierarchy ladder a little bit, and I think, that's where we can start, right? So what do you think about stripes, Jim?
In fact, I think stripes are, I think they're beneficial for the reasons why you just stated. It kind of gives you a little treat on the path, like a little nugget of, affirmation about your growth in the art. And, I like them. I like them.
Yeah, I think at minimum, stripes should be given out to white belts. So once you get your blue belt, most people... Well, I don't know.
No, even blue belts, man, because you have the blue belt blues. Yeah, that's real.
I would hope that's becoming less and less. I had that, but I'm one of my old academies, 5-star. My professor Sean Williams at that time, he used to give 5 stripes. He used to do, I think I'm remembering this right. He would do 4 stripes, and then you go to a white and blue belt. You wear that belt. Maybe that's a Henzo thing, but. You wear that white and blue belt, and then you get your blue belt, right? I'm not sure if that was the 4th stripe or if that's like the 5th stripe, that white and blue belt. But I think one day I just asked somebody that was working there why, and they just kind of gave me the simple answer of it just keeps people feeling like they're progressing, and keeps people kind of keeps people in jiu-jitsu longer, right? Because it's something like, hey, if your next reward or your next achievement is going to be in just about 2 months. That's an average of the stripe, I guess, for white belt. Then great. Then you're in, right? But if you didn't know when you were going to get that achievement, you have no idea. You can get discouraged, right? So I like stripes. I think stripes are useful. But at the same time, if everybody just had the same mindset of, we're just trying to get better, we probably don't need stripes. We probably don't even need belts, actually. But, that not everybody has that mindset, okay? Not everybody has the mindset when they first start training jiu-jitsu that they're going to train forever. And a lot of people, when they start jiu-jitsu, they just want to get to that blue belt. They just want to get to that whatever belt. They have an end goal in sight. Right?
Blue belt.
I don't really have that. You don't really have that. Once you've been training long enough, you don't really have that. But at the beginning, I can tell you guys candidly, I told myself I was going to quit at blue belt. I said that. I was like, once I get to blue, I'm moving on to Muay Thai. right? And what I do, I did that because I manifested that. So I quit for about 8 months after I got my blue. A lot of circumstances came into play, right? But I would say most of those circumstances were excuses that were manifested by me saying that to myself, right? So anyway, that's after getting my blue belt. You know what I'm saying? So so that's why I think stripes, especially for beginners, for white belts who are not invested yet, it's very important, right? It gives them buy-in, right? I've already earned 2 stripes. I just need 2 more, and I will have that blue belt. If you're blue belt and you have 2 stripes, I just need 2 more, and I'll have that purple belt. It kind of gives you buy-in, right? It gives you a gauge. So I like stripes, but at the same time, if I were to go back and redo my training, I probably wouldn't care. If I had to start from white belt again, I probably wouldn't care as much with the mindset that I have now. So yeah, that's the first one. Anything else you got on stripes, Jim?
Yeah, I would just say almost like a belt. I think it could be beneficial for the stripes if they're defined. Like, what equals a stripe? And I think this is a larger discussion.
I don't think any academy defines them outside of attendance. I think some academies define stripes by how many classes you've attended. Everything else is just arbitrary based on the instructor.
Like on skill set or anything like that?
I don't think so. Maybe. I mean...
Yeah, I don't know. But to the larger discussion that, we should probably circle back on one day is, the idea of these tools within a system. Because the way I look at stripes is it's almost like video game theory. Is that a real thing? Video game? I know game theory, but video game theory, where you do these levels and then you get to unlock a certain achievements. And there's that little dopamine hit, like boom! Oh, this is great.
Exactly. It's gamifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's gamifying this activity and making it. I actually had a Twitter post on this a long time ago. I could dig it up, but it said the same thing. You just make everything a video game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about it as what it is. You make it a game, and then you kind of can take a step back and see it for what it is, and it can kind of help your progress. Right? I don't remember the exact thing. This is why I make these Twitter posts so I could go back and check them later. But the gist of it is basically, when you make something a game, or what you just described, an achievement, people have more motivation to do it.
More skin in the game, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. If I'm already on level 7 of Plants and Zombies, I'm already close to the final boss. I'm going to keep playing, right? But if we're just playing this game and there's no levels and I'm just going around, I don't even know when this thing's going to end, I might not continue playing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah.
So moving on to, what was it, belts?
Next is mismatching. So this is another uniform custom, right? Mm-hmm. Mismatching gis.
Ooh, good one.
What do you think about mismatching gis?
Hey man, I'm all for it. I used to rock blue bottoms with a black gi top from time to time, only because either I just ripped a pair of somethings, or oh snap, the laundry's not there, or for whatever the reasons. But I'm for it. I'm like, whatever, man.
So I have a differing opinion, and this might be an ingrained culty thing that has been in my head, because I used to be a Gracie Baja person. I'm a Gracie Baja black belt, actually. Not anymore. But when I was coming up, it was a big no-no. Mm-hmm. It was a big, especially, I was always told that Carlos Gracie Jr. hated mismatching gis, and what we're talking about is mismatching top and bottom, right? You have pants that are like whatever, black, and then your top is white, right? Or your top is blue and your pants are black, whatever. So I always thought that it looked kind of weird personally, but again, this can just be my ingrained, it's just people are growing up, with that in their head, and it just manifests, right? I don't know, but at my academy, I usually tell people not to do it, because it just creates it's just disorderly, it's like disheveled. It doesn't look good, and I just put it this way. If everybody did that, we would all look like shit, and that's just the truth. I don't have first of all, you're not even wearing the same pants that are supposed to go with your top most of the time. So I don't know about you, but I'm very picky about these things. I like my pants to be from the same manufacturer as my top because that's my uniform. You don't buy a suit and just buy the blazer and buy pants elsewhere. Maybe you do, but I don't do that. I think that's weird. So my take on mismatching gis is I don't like it. I'm not going to make a huge deal out of it, but I would just say, look, I don't want other people to pick up on this and think that it's a good thing and start trying to like make a display of like style or anything. So let's just keep the same color, because the thing I always default to is, can you compete like that?
Well, same color or same color on the tops and bottoms, but not as the gi as a whole. Like blue gis are invited, black gis are invited, white gis.
Yeah.
As long as they're
mismatching is only like when the top and the bottom are
Gotcha.
different color. And what I said is, can you compete like that? No,
Negative.
You cannot compete like that.
Depends on the organization.
Well, I don't know many organizations
not reputable
where you can because
or too many reputable.
Maybe Naga lets you do it, but it's just like. It doesn't look good, right. and it's disheveled look a lot of the time. I'm not saying sometimes it can't look good, sometimes it does look good, but I don't like it when people bring unnecessary attention to themselves. I don't like to bring unnecessary attention to myself. Maybe that stems from that. So when somebody's wearing a mismatched gi, immediately everybody's looking at them, and so that is one of the reasons why I discourage it at my academy. I mean, if you really want to do it, I'm still going to discourage it, but it is what it is.
Now here's the thing. So I expressed my stance on it.
Yeah.
I'm really neither here nor there. Now, there's a but to that. That does not take away that I do see the value in uniformity.
Yeah.
And if you run a business, and this is something I learned along the way, to where, okay, you know what? Although I may be laxed on it, I think for the general good of discipline and order. And just presenting your academy a certain way, if you care about making money, and that's what good business is, then it only helps if you guys look buttoned up. Right. If you all are in the same gis, at least, I'm sorry, not mix-matched gis, but just instead in a same, blue top, blue bottom. Now, that being said, what's your take about classrooms or academies that are filled with different color gis? Because there are some academies only white gis. They will not allow.
Some academies only blue gis. By the way, there's I think there's an academy in Brooklyn only blue gis. At least I only see blue gis. Mm-hmm. I think if everybody is held to that standard, then it's your business, it's your academy. You can do whatever you want, but everybody better be held to that standard. Like, you better not be the only one that's allowed to wear a blue gi, even if you're the owner and the instructor. I just think it's weird, I think I don't like certain colors because, again, I did come from like an older generation. I came from an old school. So an example I always use is at the Kodokan, right? So this is the mecca of like grappling in the gi. The Kodokan is Jigoro Kano's original school. You can only wear white gis, white uniforms, right? You cannot wear blue. You cannot wear any other color. White is the only color acceptable. And that's their rules. And when I went to the Kodokan to train, I was white gi only. I didn't question it, don't care. That's their rule. I respect and follow their rules. If I go to AOJ, another white gi only place, I'll wear white gi. I respect whatever academy's rules are set for that academy, as long as it's not, something crazy, So at my academy, I really don't care. You gave me a red gi one time, Jim, and I gave it to one of my students, CJ. He's probably listening to this. So he wears the red gi all the time. He's also kind of that guy. He is that kind of guy,
loud and
louder guy, and he's an actor, and he kind of likes that attention, and great, he it fits his personality, right? But I don't have any problem with I do have a problem with mismatching gis, but bright colors, as long as the color,
What about camouflage?
That's where I was going to get to.
Okay.
When it gets to like camo, and also, this is a caveat of this is not a caveat. This is a side of bright colors. Is your gi needs to be suitable for jiu-jitsu. A lot of times when you wear those weird colors, they're not even jiu-jitsu gis, right? I've seen people wear sambo gis and stuff. The collars are different. The skirt is different. Things are different. Camo especially, I've never in my life felt gripped up with a camo gi and it felt like natural. Something's always weird. The material's too thick, the collar's too wide. Something is always weird. So that's why I don't like to mess with this stuff. Like, why do you need a camo gi? Is there a reason? Are we in the woods? Is there a reason we need camo gi?
Well, first off, I'm the perfect person to ask because I owned a camo gi and I rocked it too. It was a gift from my students.
Okay.
This is when I was running the Warriors Club. And if you look closely in the Warriors Club logo, there's hints of digital pattern camo in the logo. And what that was a representation to my Marine Corps roots.
Okay.
And my students, one year on my birthday, they all pitched in. They got me the camo gi.
Jim, you have to make it clear, though, that your academy was not a normal academy.
Nah, we were very, very
liberal. It was
liberal.
more like a group of guys, right? Did you have kids class?
No, but we taught. Well, not in those days of the camo gis, but later on I did evolve into kids classes. I did, yeah.
So what I can imagine is if I wear a camo gi, everybody is now green lit to wear camo gis, and next thing you know, we could potentially have half the class wearing camo gis. So that's the kind of slippery slope I'm trying to avoid.
That would have been awesome.
Maybe it would, but I just, like I said earlier, right? If it was, I just don't like to be like flamboyant for no reason.
Right.
Like if the camo, if we're in the woods and we're doing something that there's a reason to wear camo, let's do it. But there's. Why are you wearing camo? It's a cool looking thing. I get it. At a small club like yours that you were running, you wear whatever you want.
Right.
It's all good. At a more formal setting like a business with kids classes, with more official kind of, you kind of want a crisper look, and that's why I think the bright colors, the camo, it can be a little weird.
Well, here's my take on that. Is that I think it depends on what kind of academy do you run? Like, are you a competition academy? Because then, if you are,
there's no point in wearing the camo.
Because you can't wear that in any of the competitions, and yet people are going to pay money to have that. And then B, if it fits within a theme, if you're not in a competition but you want to create a culture, create a look, a vibe, by all means, man, custom make yours. Do whatever. Because at the end of the day. Does that mean your arm bars are going to be any less effective?
I think one thing I can add, and it definitely doesn't, but one thing I can add too is, as a civilian who's always been a civilian, I find it weird. I don't like to wear camo, period, because I'm not a military guy. I cringe when I see self-defense people go and teach self-defense class and they're wearing like military boots and camo and they got like a vest on. Like, why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense. It's cringy. So I really stay away from camo, especially, and bright colors. Camo, I'm just not a camo guy. I don't think it's necessary in martial art. We're not going to war. And secondly, the bright colors just brings unwanted attention that I don't want. So when I see people doing it, I kind of sense attention whoring, and I don't like that either. But anyway, I say these things, but at the same time, if one of my students came in with a camo gi, I think I gave a camo gi to one of my students. It's in the back, and this was a kid that didn't really have many gis, so I was like, I ain't gonna wear this camo gi that somebody gave me. You wear it, and that's fine.
Would it happen to be an A3? I'm a solid A3.
It might be an A4, actually. I think it's A4. Go look for it in the back. You don't want this gi, though. I'm telling you, these camo gis, they don't fit right, and they feel weird. So anyway, no, I don't like it, but again, it's a custom. I think to be on the safe side with all these customs, if you were training in an academy, it's probably best not to go into the academy with a mismatched gi or a camo gi or a bright pink gi. unless you've had that conversation with your instructor.
And especially if you're visiting an academy,
hell,
right?
God. If you visit my academy and you're wearing a pink gi, I'm already like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you that. So I wanted to paint this hypothetical. It's like, Ben, what if this out-of-stater comes in, he's only in town for 3 days, he'll pay his drop-in fee to train with you, and then, plow, he hits you with that camo gi.
I mean, look, I don't want to make any assumptions, but I have to, right? Like, the camo gi is a little, whatever. That's the only gi you got. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like,
So
I wouldn't do that, right? I wouldn't, if I'm going on a business trip and I happen to be training in a nearby academy, I'm not going to just bring this camo gi instead of this plain white one that I also have sitting there.
Would you give him a loaner? Like, listen,
No.
I have a uniform policy.
No. I would make fun of him a little bit. I'd be like, hey, look, check this. This Mike visiting from Connecticut wearing that camo gi.
Have at him, boys.
I would make him feel a little, because you're a peacock. You're a peacock in this room, right? Who's wearing camo gis?
I remember having this conversation with Rodrigo back in the day.
What did he say? What did Rodrigo say?
It was about red. It was a red gi.
This is our instructor, Rodrigo
Yeah.
Teixeira. What did he say about it?
He's like, I just remember he laughed. He started giggling. He's all, well, I don't have anything against it, but he better be good.
You know
gotta be
what?
really
There you
good.
go. That's actually a side topic that's very important. If you are showboating like this, right? If you're attention whoring like this, you better be good, because a lot of people are who weren't looking at you before are now looking at you, right? So Rodrigo actually gave the most, I guess, important answer, is because he's a very high level black belt,
Yeah.
and if he's saying that, then you know how many people are thinking that?
Yeah.
Probably everybody in the room.
Yeah.
So
And the thing is,
I never really thought about that.
He never dismissed it. He was cool with it, but you only on the caveat, the contingency. You better be.
why?
good.
Why did he say that? Because you're drawing attention
Yeah.
to yourself.
You're a distraction.
Yeah, you are.
You're
You're either a
distraction.
distraction or you're telling everybody I'm special, basically. So all right, almost done. This uniform custom, I think is I file under respect, so I like it. I think it's very good. Is when you are tying your belt or your pants and you turn away from the people in the room. You turn to a corner that you're not facing anybody, basically, when you tie your belt. And at some academies, this rule only applies for black belts. At my academy, I try to keep this rule uniform for everybody. If I'm tying my belt, if I'm addressing the class and my belt, I'm standing in front of the class and everybody's lined up in front of me and my belt is slipping off, I will turn around and tie my belt. I'm not going to tie my belt in everybody's face, right? If I tie my pants, I'm going to turn around. It's like ingrained in me. I feel like it's something that I've always done. And so I like this one. I think this is a respect thing. It actually looks good. You're not like anybody messing with their belt or pants in your face is not good, right? I don't care if we're outside, and in your regular street clothes. Turn around if you're going to be messing with your pants. So what do you think about this one, Jim?
Yeah, that's a good point. To me, it was one of those legacy things.
It's not harmful.
No,
That's the main thing. It's not harmful.
It's not harmful, but it's okay. So one of those legacy things. I used to be very consistent about it when I first started jiu-jitsu, to where I would turn outboard. In other words, I would turn away from the class to fix my gi, to tie my belt. And I can't remember. Shoot, I may have been a black belt or something. I mean, every now and then I still, heads or tails, I still may do it. But I never felt it offensive, or I was never offended if someone started tying their belt right in front of me before we roll, like without facing outbound, outboard. And I'm neither here nor there at it, but when someone does it, I acknowledge it. Oh, that's pretty cool. I think it's just cool because, to your point, it's just a sign of respect.
It's like bowing on and off the mat. It's a respect thing that I think it's a little thing that shows humility, and I think these little things, if you take care of them, your overall character and the way people perceive you will be better.
Bam.
And I think that's just a good thing. It's like the opposite of a bright gi or a mismatching gi. It's you're showing humility, right? It's like if everybody is, if you can wear a pink gi, but you choose to wear the plain white gi, you're showing humility. If you can take your pants off and tie your pants in my face, but you choose to turn around and kind of make it more respectful, I appreciate that.
Yeah. In my head, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Little cool factor. It's almost like having that dope exotic car. You're rolling in your your Ferrari, but you're not speeding. You're just driving cool. I'm cool with it. It's like,
That's a weird example, but
no. But you said it. It's like just because you can,
exactly.
Just because you can, and just because that car drives fast, it's like you don't have to drive fast.
Yeah, you can do it, but I'm not going to call anybody out on it. But I would say it's in the school etiquette. So I don't necessarily enforce everything down to the letter, but it's in the school etiquette. So try to do it, please.
Right.
Bow on and off the mat. I don't enforce that like everybody. If you don't do it, I'm going to slap you.
Turn around and go back and do it again.
But at the same time, we have expectations, and you should do your best to uphold these expectations.
Yeah, I think you really nailed it. To me, it's mic dropper, game over when you said it. It's just an act of humility.
Yeah, I think everything in life, if you can be a little more humble, you should. That's a sign of a leader. It's a sign of a decent person, and really mean it. Don't make it a show. Here's a way to not be humble is to like tie your belt and make it obvious that you're turning away from everybody. Go into the corner and make it a show. I've seen people do that, by the way. I think that's weird as hell, but this is what it is. Okay, now we're gonna get into. Let's get into this one first before we get two more. Rash guard or no rash guard?
Ooh, good one. Oh, you're asking. Ooh.
I'm asking you. Do you wear rash guard? I always see you wear rash guard.
Yeah, I wear rash guard because I don't. I wear rash guard because I don't have like this awesome set of abs. But no, all in all, I mean, I believe in rash guards. I think
safety.
Yeah,
skin disease.
Is it really though?
I think a little bit. I think it prevents direct contact, but I don't. It's very little.
Yeah, once the sweat pours through, it's like it's not non-factor.
But the thing is, I don't know. Probably nothing.
But here you go, though. I mean, for your MMA fighters, I mean, you practice how you compete, right? And that feel of contact in the context of your competition, it's very important. So, I think discretion is advised on that.
So I think in training, for the most part, you should have a rash guard on. I always try to have a rash guard because I don't want my sweat from my chest. I just want something to soak up a little bit of the sweat. I don't want my gi to be that wet. I want something to soak up the sweat, and also, especially, the skin diseases.
So wait, are you talking about rash guard underneath the gi jacket?
Yeah, underneath the gi. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about no gi. This is just. So I think we had a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
So I'm just talking about under your gi. Just to having a rash guard on. So this is the rule I have in my academy. For the kids classes, you must have rash guard. Kids, teens must have rash guard. I don't care who you are, you must have it. In the adult class, I generally tell people for the fundamentals, you need to have the rash guard on. When we get into hard sparring, advanced class, we're going live, you can take your rash guard off if you choose. And mainly, I say this because two reasons. One is when you compete in the IBJJF, you can't wear a rash guard. You have to be shirtless. So that you need to know what that feels like, And two is, I say this story all the time, but I always roll with rash guard on, and it kind of inhibits your breathing a little bit. It's a layer of heat, So when I take off my rash guard, it's like there's a cartoon called Naruto, and basically there's a character. He's like, I forgot his name. He has like a bowl cut, and he's like fighting in this thing, and he decides to take off his weights. He's wearing weights in his clothing, right? He takes off these weights, and all of a sudden he's like 10 times better fighter. I kind of feel that, as stupid as that sounds, when maybe my rash guard's too thick. Okay, I need to get a new manufacturer. But when I take off my rash guard, I'm telling you, people that give me a hard time, I am smashing them, And maybe it's a mental thing. Maybe I can breathe. I'm a pretty big guy of, use a lot of energy. So when I take off the rash guard, it's like, ooh, now I can finally, like, my full power has been unleashed. And this is how I'm going to compete anyway. So now, this is the real deal. So one in every, like, probably 20 sessions, I'll take off my rash guard, and I like to, just get the feeling. But for the most part, I think when you're training with people, it is very disrespectful to not wear a rash guard, especially if you got like hairy chest or if you got a sweating problem. You need to wear a rash guard, and it's disgusting. The women are in the class; they don't want to see that. Kids, they don't want to see that. They don't want to touch that either. So yeah, so that's how I feel about the rash guard under the gi. I think some academies like AOJ, you have to wear a rash guard. Like, that's not.
Yeah,
I
think a lot of Gracie Bas are that way too, right?
I think all of them are. Yeah,
all of them are, right?
It might have something to do with the next thing that we're gonna talk about though, which is your academy forcing you to buy their uniform, rash guard, gi, patch, whatever it is, right? I don't really have a huge like opinion on this, but I always just kind of just say what I do at my academy is my opinion. But at my academy, I don't have any uniform requirements. None, literally none, except for I tend to discourage the mismatching, the bright colors, the camo. Like, if you wear a white, black, or blue gi, navy gi, we're good. We're good. Gray is okay. Any other weird colors that brown, like some people have brown gis. I have a brown gi. It's okay. Not a big deal. But at my academy, I don't force you to buy the uniform. I would like you to buy the uniform, but it would support the academy. And if you want to sign up, the best deal you're going to get is going to include the uniform, because you need the uniform, right? And it's a jiu-jitsu uniform. I don't want people going online buying these weird karate uniforms and coming in and have to buy the jiu-jitsu uniform anyway. So at my academy, I try my best to not force anybody to buy the gi or the rash guard or the patch or anything. But, it would be nice if people want to support the academy. I think that it shows, commitment, shows loyalty, it shows, support. It shows a lot of things. But I think certain academies that force you to buy the gi and only make it so you can only wear their gi, I think there's some issues there. I don't mind the academies that make you buy one gi and then just say, look, as long as you bought one gi, you're good. You don't have to wear it, but you bought it. You support it.
So how do you? Interesting. Okay, so you did state your position on it, but how do you feel as a business move, making that the requirement? Because to keep lights on, there are some things that are imposed, and when people sell gis or patch kits or whatever the case.
I think if you're relying on uniforms to support your business, and you have to sell uniforms to keep your business alive, I think you messed up a while back. It's not like I don't make much money on my merchandise. I don't lose money. I definitely make money, but I at the same time, I give away, the uniforms and rash guards and things to the instructors. And basically what it is when somebody's buying the uniform from my academy, I usually charge about, it's usually about double the cost to make, right? So, because that, it includes the time it took me to design the thing, the time it took to ship, the effort it took to communicate with these people, the designers I had to pay, the shipping costs. So let's just say the gi cost me $75 to make, which is just about accurate. It's about $75 for me to make. I go through Sanibel. Shout out to Imran, and then I sell it for $150. You don't have to buy it, right? It is what it is, right?
Now, what about patch kits? How do you feel
about
that?
I have patches. I don't. I'm not big on patches because I personally think they're inconvenient as hell to put on. I don't. If a patch kit was just like a slap on and it's on there forever, I'd be like, all right, everybody put a patch on. But I feel kind of weird telling people to go to the laundromat, get it sewn, do this, do that. I don't know. I just there's not much money to be made there either. It's just like a weird thing, I feel like people should intrinsically want to support the academy. And, this is a side note, but the one thing that, makes me feel really good about my academy and the culture that I have in my academy is I don't enforce the uniform things. People don't go out of their way to buy uniforms, buy patches. But guess what? We're in this pandemic, right? Many, many, many students have shown their support in other ways that are way more significant than a patch on the back, like a uniform. These are small things. People have literally given me money for no reason. I can't even turn them down because the academy's closed and we need financial support. Mm-hmm. That to me shows way more loyalty than a patch. The patch,
so that's the nickel and dime version of loyalty.
Yeah, I just don't see that being important. And yeah, I do agree with you that some businesses, that's part of their bottom line, I guess. But man, I don't know, man. I think again, this is another conversation that we can have at a later time. But I don't consider my jiu-jitsu gym a standard business. I'm not here to nickel and dime people. I'm not really even here to make money unless we're all winning somehow. I feel like forcing uniforms on people is not a way of we're all winning. It's I'm winning and you're abiding by my rules. I would more like to create a uniform that's very nice, that people are like, hey, I want to pre-order that thing. It's so nice. That maybe the mindset should be make your merchandise so high quality and good that people want to buy it, as opposed to forcing people to buy it. So and I feel the same way about patches. And like I said, the students that I have are great. They support me in so many other ways. They support the academy in so many monetary, getting the word out, helping with things inside the academy. I could not care less if they wore the gi or if they wore a show your roll or if they wore a patch or if they didn't wear a patch. That you're buying loyalty at that point, and I don't agree with that. So I have a pretty hard stance on academies forcing their students to buy the uniform. I think, maybe not forcing the student to buy it, forcing the student to wear the uniform every class. Making them buy their first uniform when they sign up. Okay, that's not one thing.
Yeah, you want to make sure they have the right uniform, and if they're new to the culture, how do they know the difference between a taekwondo gi, a karate gi, and a jiu-jitsu gi?
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. The buying of the gi and then the patches. We pretty much touched on most of the uniform customs, I think. Is there anything else, Jim, for uniforms?
Outside of, I guess the gi no gi dynamic, I take it you feel the same way about like rash guard kits, because no gi, IBJJF, they have their own standards. People have to wear their rank in a rash guard on a no gi day. But
I don't have that standard. I don't think you need to wear the rank.
There you go.
But at the same time, I also think men need to wear shorts. Mm-hmm. That's a personal thing. I don't really think men should be rolling around in just spats. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also it's the same thing with the bright colored and camo gis, right? If you have some weird, loud outfit, and you're doing no gi, I don't see the point in that.
Then you've walked into a 10th Planet class.
People say this about 10th Planet a lot, but it's not just 10th Planet, man. It's many, many academies. I think 10th Planet is very liberal.
They embrace it.
Yeah, because they're a no gi only academy. So the chances of it happening there are much higher. But it's not just a 10th Planet thing. It's every academy. I've had that in my academy. People who men that aren't wearing shorts, and I'm just like, first of all, it looks terrible, and then secondly, there's like women here, there's other, like, I don't want to be looking at that or touching that, to be honest. Wear shorts, and this is just, again, personal opinion. Yeah, I think yeah, you gotta wear shorts, man. You gotta wear gi pants or something. That's just my personal opinion on it. I don't have any logic behind that one. It just to me it looks like shit.
Personal preference.
And it just I wouldn't do that. And I did that for a period of time. I was a little crazy. I was like, oh, this style, it's cool. I get older, I don't care about that stuff anymore.
Right on. Well, there you go. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. Make sure to check out Coach Ben on his Instagram at Coach BZ, where he also offers up solo drills and workouts in these times of separation. And also, he's got a Patreon account. So if you go to patreon.com/CoachBZ.
/Coach BZ,
Okay.
you can, it's $10. You can donate more if you like. Thank you to my students who have donated. One thing that is the one thing that starting my Patreon has taught me is that I have 20,000 something followers on Instagram, right? When I started my Patreon, the only people that really supported me were the people that I knew in real life, my students. And thank you to my students who have supported me. But that's a big lesson, because the people that know you, the people that have been with you, the people that are in your actual community, at the end of the day, those are the people that are probably going to be the ones supporting you. And thank you to all the fans and all the supporters of this podcast and my social media, Jiu-Jitsu Mag, and all that. But again, the lesson is your community supports you. And so thank you to my students. It's like 99% is all my students. Anyway, if anybody out there, send me a message at Coach BZ on Instagram. Patreon is the same, under the same name. Thank you to Power Blocks. Thank you to Muscle Farm. Thank you to Jiu-Jitsu Magazine, obviously. Yeah, that's it.
And Coach, thank you. And yes, right along his sentiments. Thank you guys for your support, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Be safe.
Thanks for your time.